Hello out there. This is the very first interview for the Mind_Games uh, Facebook page. I am Benito Gonzalez Jr. I am a player in the regular weekly game. I am speaking with somebody I'm super excited to be speaking with, and somebody I'm super proud of to say that I know, Johnathan Connor Self. Hi, Connor.
Hey, Beans. Hey, everybody. It's great to be here and talking to you. I'm pretty excited to see what sorts of conversation we can generate because oh man, in the years past we've had some long fun doozies of conversations.
Okay, so I've got to get to what probably most people that are watching this are waiting for me to get to, that are watching it at this moment. About a week ago, your first Epic launched.
Right.
Um, Very secretive. Couldn't share with anybody. I didn't even know people. I didn't even know. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do an interview, and he's like, I think you should wait. And I'm like, why? Why am I waiting to do an interview? But I found out why.
Yeah.
You've co-written this epic. Who was your co-writer with you?
So I co-wrote this adventure with the very talented Ginny Loveday,
Okay.
who is a little bit of a figure in the D&D, the wider D&D community as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So, what kind of challenges does an epic bring to the table that, say, writing a regular adventure for a con doesn't?
Okay. So for those of you who are out there listening who maybe don't know Adventures League,
Oh,
Epic,
yeah, I should say what an
or
epic was.
or Pathfinder, they call them multi-table events for Pathfinder. What they are is they are adventures that are designed to run with multiple tables playing the exact same adventure at the exact same time, with interactivity between the different tables, so that what happens at one table can affect the experience at another table. Um, so it's already challenging enough to write a story that can be fully experienced in a meaningful way in a 4-hour time slot. Okay,
Yeah.
so you've got that, and that I'll tell you from my experience, that's a challenge. But when you start saying, okay, now it needs to be something that's really big, like big in story, but also big in experience, because you're not worried about just what 3 to 7 people at your table are doing. Now you're worried about what 20 or more tables of 3 to 7 people are doing all at the same time.
All different levels.
All and often, yeah, very different levels, um, and so there's a lot going on there, and making certain that everybody has a good time experiencing that. And so it helps that I've spent a lot of time volunteering at Adventures League events, because doing that, I sort of knew, you learn by doing. I learned what sorts of experiences people liked. I learned what sorts of experiences people don't. I had a great coworker, and Ginny, who also has done the same thing. We're bouncing ideas off of each other, to make a good story, and so we had to figure out how to do that. That is really hard. That's like creativity. It stretches your creativity in so many wild ways that you would never think about when you're just writing a story for your home game.
I would imagine so. Uh,
Mhm.
you even have your bosses that are traveling from table to table to keep
Yep.
track of. I found it amazing. Uh, never, I don't believe I ever ran in an epic. Have I? I might have. I
I,
might have. I
you
shouldn't
might
say I
have.
haven't. I may have. But playing in epics, I love playing in epics.
Mhm.
I've ran a lot of cons. But so I'm sure I maybe have ran an epic at some point.
Playing in epics is a great it's a great player experience because it feels huge. You're surrounded by 20 or 80 or more people, all of you working together toward the same thing. There's energy and excitement. Occasionally there's booming announcements from the event administration and giving you bonuses or hurting everybody that's there.
And you got your runner at the table. If you're a DM, you're like, hey, we're going to need a runner. You're going to be the one that's running up to the top and telling them, hey, you accomplished this, so they can give us credit.
Yeah, it's a great experience as a player. As a DM, it will challenge you in unique and great ways. You learn to DM to the clock.
Oh yes.
You learn to roll with changing situations. If you DM an epic, you will become a better DM, hands down. It's a great experience all around, and they use them, both Pathfinder Society and Adventurers League use them to often as a highlight piece for weekend play, right? It's like the gem of the weekend is that 7 to 11 p.m. slot where everybody's getting together and enjoy the same story, and then afterwards mass migration to whatever socialization you want after that.
Yeah. Epics are on a whole nother level, in my opinion, because you can have hundreds of players and the epic completes and not everybody disperses right away. It's almost like one giant game table that you walk over and you're like, oh, you played in tier 3 in this. I was in tier 2. This is what we were doing. And we helped you get this, so this could help you. How did that affect your table? And what did you do? And epics are just massively phenomenal. And I can't say it enough. I'm very proud that I could say I know somebody that helped write one.
They're very protective. The folks at Wizards of the Coast are very protective with their epics, and the reason why it was such a big honor for me, besides knowing that I was writing an event that the Adventurers League is really well known for, it was because they're very tight. They don't let people do it, and they asked me. I'm like, me? I mean, when I got the offer, everybody was laughing at me because I'm like, imposter syndrome totally kicked in. Like, like, why me?
So are you allowed to elaborate on that? How did they contact you? And what happened? Like, how did this happen?
It is public play. It was publicly okay. So it's a public play event. But when they approach you privately. So I didn't bump into somebody and somebody said, hey, that would be great, we'll give you a call. Nothing like that. No. I got a message saying, hey, give us a call at this phone number. So I did, not knowing what was going on. When I got that call, the person said, we are interested in having you write for Adventurers League next season. I'm like, wow, that's so awesome. Thank you. Because it's sort of a dream of mine. It was always a dream of mine to write content specifically for Wizards of the Coast. And they're like, I'm like, what are you thinking? Thinking they're going to toss me into just a little adventure here or there. And they said, we want you to write the epic. And
jaw drops.
Yeah. And I went, what? We would like you to write the epic. No, seriously? Like I couldn't believe
who you're talking to?
Right. Like,
is that what you said to him?
You might, you know what? Yeah, maybe you think I'm James Intricasso, but I'm not. And James is a great guy, so he wouldn't mind me poking at him there. The person on the other side of the phone was just like, no. And we talked at length about it. And it was very humbling. It was very, it felt good that they put that kind of trust in me. I have a certain style of writing that isn't your typical fare for Dungeons and Dragons Epic. So,
Well, on that subject,
mm-hmm.
I would have to say, Wizards of the Coast in 5th edition so
Mm-hmm.
far has probably tried to go darker with 10 towns than they had with anything previously, except for maybe Ravenloft, Strahd.
Absolutely.
Did that put pressure on you to also bring a bit of a horror kind of feel to your epic?
The tone was going to be incredibly important, and knowing that people are wanting that that Icewind Dale experience, that gave you a good starting point. But we went outside of horror for our inspiration. For this adventure. So the basics of the adventure is that defenders at East Haven become aware of an animal army that is marching on the region, and they need as much help as they can. The city of East Haven is located on a very narrow isthmus between two large lakes. And they know that holding East Haven would be key to protecting the towns beyond Goodmead, Dugan's Hole, Caer-Dineval, and Caer Koenig.
Mm.
And so the defenders at East Haven said, we need you to muster as much help from these cities as you can, so that we can all live together. That it's complicated though, because in the 10 towns don't like each other. There are 10 towns.
A lot of
don't
rivalry.
Like each other. They don't trust each other. They're always in competition with each other. And saying, okay, we need you to come and help this town. They're like, yeah, no, they can help themselves. We got stuff we got to do here. And so the theme of the adventure is unity. We chose unity as a theme, trying to unify a people against a common threat, which is the same theme if you had read The Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore.
Yes.
Then you understand that in the 10 towns, unifying the 10 towns against a common threat sometimes doesn't happen until it's almost too late.
Unity, in that saga, Ari's writing, unity is always hard to come by, it seems like.
Right.
From the dark elf lifestyle to the Icewind Dales, and even beyond with orcs, dwarves. It's part of his writing style.
And so when we wrote the story, we wrote the primary antagonist wasn't the animal army that was marching on the towns. It was the fact that the towns weren't willing to work with each other, and that was the number one thing that was going to get people killed. And in that particular epic, that is the number one thing that's likely to get you killed. At any step of the way, if you focus on anything other than unity, the towns won't come to your aid, so you won't get the help you need at defending East Haven. If you're not unified with your party members and working well together, the combat that is in the adventure will do you in.
The book's very much that way too.
Right. Like so there was that that unity theme, and for inspiration, the number one inspiring thing would be Saved by Private Ryan.
Really?
Yeah, was the number one inspiration for that adventure. With some other nods to real world Native American cultures, and one nod to Star Trek Voyager's Captain Janeway. sorry y'all, I'm a big Trekkie, and I needed to work Janeway in there somehow because she's just that awesome. So
okay, so repeat that so everybody's looking for it. There is a character.
that is a heavily inspired by Captain Catherine Janeway of USS Voyager, lost in the Delta Quadrant, trying to find her way home. Yeah, it's and I loved it. But the adventure is very much inspired by Saving Private Ryan, because we had to tell a story of war, and we had to tell it in a believable way, and we needed to tell it in a human and visceral way.
Yeah.
And so, if you are looking for a story that glorifies war, this is not the adventure for you. This adventure tells a story of war from the perspective of the talented people who worked on that film, who had consulted with many other people to get a good idea of what war is. And war is hell. It's terrible that it even happens. And there's that you see death and destruction happening around you, people that you care about being hurt, the constant fear that you could be the next one, and then even worrying about who's going to take care of the other people, because through the course of the adventure you meet personalities that are invented whole cloth by your dungeon master, tailored to your table experience and the things that you like. And those people that are created, you need to defend because of them, because they're the ones who could be next if you don't. So it is it's solid. One of the coolest compliments I ever got was that the epilogue dealt with war in one of the most human ways. It doesn't talk about how great it is that you won. The victory epilogue is not one of celebration. It's still one of mourning.
That is an interesting take. That is a very interesting take that I did not know about this, and I wanted to play it, and I want to play it even more.
And it's the first epic that is easy to experience, because we obviously don't have physical events. You can run multi-table events online, but if you want to tell the story more intimately, you have the choice to tell that in your own home with one table, because it is one of the first epics that's designed to be ran as a single table experience amongst friends. So I highly recommend that experience too, with a DM that you know well.